And we are live, Joanne.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. Welcome, Joanne. Welcome, everyone, to our Small Business Expo hosted by Kent District Library. We are honored to continue this journey together. The goal of this time is to have a conversation with you, with the businesses, with entrepreneurs, with the agencies that support economic development, to understand and promote their work, and to also make you aware of some resources that are available. We understand that you are the center of our community, and we want you to thrive. So that's why we're doing this. And we have had a lot of fun, right, Joanne?
Absolutely. It's been terrific.
You want to mention some of the people that has been here, that we have had as guests in the past?
So we had Wayne from the financial group, and he talked about the Paycheck protection plan. And then we've had Marta and then Fran Dalton from the Grand Rapids Area Neighborhood Association. And now tonight we have Jorge. So it's terrific.
Right. We have had an amazing panel and friends and guests here in a variety of issues and things that they share. So we are so honored to have such an amazing and strong group of partners here in the library. Yes. And today is no exception. And we have somebody very special. I think he's really special. He is a friend, but he's also a wonderful a supporter of economic development in this region, specifically the Latino community. So he's a superstar, in my opinion, has done all kinds of things. He is, I don't know if you know, I'm going to ask him about this, but his education is pretty interesting to me. But he has been with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. He also has been part of Link Up. He has been a supporter of the Hispanic Center, and just experience in banking and all kinds of things related to economic development. So I'm excited, Joanne.
Let's bring him. Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's bring him in. Hi, Jorge.
Hola, Sara.
Jorge Gonzalez.
Good evening. It's wonderful
if you were reading all of that, I'm like, is she really talking about me, or who is this guy?
Right?
Yep. No, we're honored to have you. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
And we are excited for the opportunity. You know that I know Joanne mentioned some of the previous guests, but just knowing that you had George from SBDC, you had Jamiel from and then you had Hannah from Local First, and I'm like thinking like, wow, like I'm like super geeked to be part of this amazing team. So thank you for the invitation.
For sure.
We're so honored to have you. I have mentioned some things that I wanted to just pick your brain and said, you I know you have your master in public administration, and that makes sense. But when you were doing your minor, you chose business and sociology, and that is an interesting combination. I wanted to ask you, why did you do that?
Well, I don't have a master's. I wish I did. I have a bachelor's in public administration. But yeah, as back then, ironically, I was working at the Hispanic Center, and the executive director, we're talking in the early 90s, was almost like my mentor, and Lisa Garcia. And, as I had to, finally decide what I was going to major in. And as you see, I do have a minor in business. So my intention was to go into business administration, but loving to do all the community work that I was doing at the Hispanic Center as a part-time caseworker, I was like, you know what? I don't think business administration is for me. So what could I do? And she's the one that suggested I go into public administration. And I actually never used it, but I think I have, informally. But then, declaring a minor, I was not interested in dealing with individual people or case by case kind of workload. I was more interested in studying groups of people, and that's what sociology is instead of psychology. You study different groups and and the socioeconomic effects that we have, all the socioeconomic issues that we deal with, such as poverty, crime, racial disparities, health disparities. And that's why, actually my minor in sociology has been more effective for me than my degree in public administration.
And well, you know what? That is what I was going to say, because if something we have seen during this time of pandemic and crisis is that the sociological phenomenon and whatever is impacting society, a virus or distress and protest for ages and generations of racial and in economic disparities, all of that impacts the economy and businesses, and the fabric of the businesses is the people. So yeah, of course, we're talking about the same thing. So I am so glad that you have that perspective. And I know that I see in the back, you have all those books, and I was making fun of you before the interview. You study, and you like to read, and you like to understand what is going on. And I think that is very valuable. I think that's something that we can all learn from. Let me ask you a question regarding the organization that you represent right now, Start Garden. Can you give us an overview? And I know that you have a video that you wanted to share too. So can you speak a little bit about what you're doing right now and how you're doing it?
So let me give you a bit of historical background. So Start Garden originated roughly around 2012. And it was an intent to spur up, get people interested in doing more entrepreneurship. And it was a private venture capital fund of $15 million. And there was the opportunity for people to, do the 5x5 pitch competition, which is what we're known for. And maybe I can talk more about that if you want me to. But the thing is that the whole focus of Start Garden at its beginning was based on high tech, high growth, and therefore it had a negative effect as to the people that were having access to those resources, and it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't like they were being intentional of excluding certain groups of people. But what was happening, because high tech and high growth are so white male dominated, there was little opportunities for females and minorities to have access to those $5,000. That were being given out almost every week back when Start Garden first started. Now we do it once a month. But 4 years ago, they started seeing the need for diversity and inclusion, and to be more intentional on providing those same resources that were offered to high tech, to other entrepreneurs, to the mom and pops, to the small business owners, to anybody that had a great idea. And it wasn't just high tech. It could have been retail. It could have been any other entrepreneur that in the past was excluded startup. So
because now everything is high tech, Jorge, right? Because every single agent, every single industry has some component of high tech for efficiency. We are developing those, so of course makes sense.
Now, here we are. We're using a platform that has to do with technology because of the coronavirus. And once we start talking about the resources that are available for for our current entrepreneurs, it's all tech based. But still, you still got restaurants, you still got retail shops, you still got. And in the past, they had no opportunity, to have access to the small amount of capital. So the reason why I say, we then kind of diversified the leadership at Start Garden, and Daryl Ross and myself came into the picture, from economic development in grassroots organizations. And we said, okay, we are going to change the way we do things, and we're going to take a targeted approach, and we are going to be intentional of going into our historically marginalized communities, and we're going to be able to make sure that the same resources that are available for everybody now are available for they were only available for a certain number of people, now are available for everybody. And that includes, just last night, we had our 5x5 pitch competition. It was completely in Spanish. The ideas were submitted in Spanish. We did the pitches in Spanish. The judges were bilingual. And we do that intentionally to make sure that at least twice a year, we have Latinos that are, winning the $5,000.
Jorge, how long ago was that you started? You said, okay, we're going to diversify this and we're going to take a targeted approach. When was that?
We started back in February of 2017, so roughly about 3.5 years ago. We were very intentional on making sure that we were going to the grassroots organizations such as Link Up, such as, even the Hispanic Center, the Hispanic Chamber. We have partnered with many of the African American and Latinx organizations just to make sure that we have that targeted approach, that we're being intentional. Instead of having them come to us to downtown Grand Rapids, which can be scary, we actually go out to them. And it has worked. We have had in the past, I would say in the last 18 months, at least 12 of the winners of the $5,000 have been either females or minorities.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
That's just because we're being intentional.
And I know there's a lot more to do. There's so much to do. If we take that position of, yes, there's always some more that we need to look at and improve. But you have come a long way. I have seen you. I have followed the progress, and I am glad that we're taking these. And I think that it takes all of us. This is a collaborative approach, and that's how we change. That's how we learn. Jorge, do you want to share your video right now?
Actually, before we do that, I do want to talk about the collaboration, because I think it's equally important that we say how now the ESO community, for those that don't know, the Entrepreneur Support Organizations, which means all the nonprofits, including the Kent District Library, which has been instrumental and very important in having resources, for entrepreneurs. I mean, I love the fact, Sara, that I know you too, and I've seen your progress, and you coming from the Hispanic Center, and now being at the Kent District Library, and el hecho que podemos nosotros los dos poder hablar en español y poder proveer esos recursos a nuestra comunidad es sumamente importante. Creo que hace 10 años no había eso. Creo que muchas de las organizaciones ahora que son vitales e importantes para los emprendedores tienen representantes hispanos, ya sea la Cámara de Comercio de Grand Rapids, ya sea la Cámara de Comercio Hispana, ya sea el programa que tiene Carlos Sánchez de líderes en Ferris. Lo digo porque tú estando en la Kent District Library es sumamente importante, porque tú puedes proveer ya todos esos recursos que aunque antes existían, es lo mismo que Star Garden existía, no sabía la comunidad hispana porque no tenían ese contacto. So I did this intentionally, Sara, to throw it in Spanish just to say, how you and I are bilingual and we are able to offer those services, that often they have always been there available, for the entire community, but sometimes the Spanish community and when we talk about sociology, don't know about the programs that you have at KDL, or don't know the programs that I have at the Star Garden. And the fact that
they see it too, like, oh no, that's not something that I can access. Yeah. I just couldn't apply for that. But I know that you don't stop with Spanish, no solamente con el español, sino con otras, es multilingüismo, with more languages as well. There's other communities too, and they're multi-language. So I know it is, that targeted approach is what I love, because it starts from the top, from leadership, understanding that these journey of diversity, inclusion, and equity takes the leadership priorities. They have to change. They have to understand that that's where it starts. And then it takes some time. But we get there eventually. So I wanted to talk about Star Garden first, and also, speak, of course, about the ESO, which is the community. It stands for Entrepreneur Support Organizations, correct?
Yes. And so we convene at Star Garden, and it's roughly about 25 to 30 different community organizations, most of them being nonprofits. There's universities, and then there's also a couple for-profits, but all of them have the intention of providing resources for entrepreneurs. So if you are an entrepreneur and you're looking for, how to get help, and there's 4 different types of capital that we talk about. And briefly, I'll talk about that, Sara, if it's okay with you.
Absolutely, it's okay with me. Go ahead.
So, of course, the first one, entrepreneurs are looking for money. So the financial capital. I mean, how do I get assistance to make sure that I get this idea, into a reality? So startup money, it could be as little as $1,000. It could be as big as $20,000. But so we have, the financial capital. Second, we have the intellectual capital. If, you may have the best product or the best service, but if you don't know how to administer your business, you're eventually going to get in trouble. And that's why most of the time, most businesses fail because they don't know how to manage their business. So the intellectual capital is connecting them to those ESOs, technical assistance, marketing, legal, finance, HR, social media, anything and everything that the support system to be able to help you. So that's the second form of capital. The third capital is social capital. It's all about who you know and how well connected you are. The more people you know and the more resources you have, the more networking events you go to, that's going to expand your business. And that's so important because, once again, you may have the best product or best service, but if people don't know about it, you're not going to expand. And the last one is infrastructure. Basically, we have a beautiful co-work space. I know you've been there at our location at Star Garden, and everyone's welcome to go visit it. And I know that you're going to put the address here, but we have a huge co-work space where we make it very affordable and sustainable for startups and entrepreneurs that need an office but cannot afford to sign a 3-year lease, cannot afford to, pay utilities, pay printing, pay internet, pay all the extra costs. As low as $50 a month, you can become a member of Star Garden, and we help you. And I'm not trying to sell it. That's not the point why I'm here. I'm just saying that those 4 types of capital, financial, intellectual, social, and infrastructure, are really that giving you the holistic coverage to make sure that you are going to succeed as a small entrepreneur, especially when things are so tough right now, especially during COVID. And I know that's the reason why we're going to talk about all the resources that are out there. But in a nutshell, Sara, that's what we do at Star Garden, and we help the ESOs.
So you help entrepreneurs understand their financial capital, their intellectual capital, their social capital, and the infrastructure so each one of those. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for clarifying that. I wonder if this is a good time to show your website and all the resources that you have available, because I know that you have specifically, one of the things that we have been talking in this space is COVID, and I know that you have been doing so much around that. So you take it away.
Thank you, Sara. So one of the things that we are working on is a platform that we as Star Garden are basically the hub, the ecosystem hub for the city of Grand Rapids, where any entrepreneur and anyone that is looking, for assistance can just go ahead and log in and look at all the opportunities that we have in our community, whether if it's resources, whether if it's events, whether we just want to look at, current stories of what's happening in our community, and whether if you need a mentor or if you want to collect, like, for example, Kent District Library, you can go ahead and upload your events here. And everybody knows. So the next, small business expo that you're having with Jamiel, you can put it here, and anyone can have access to it. It's a hub designed, to make sure that it's a one-stop shop for everybody when it comes to entrepreneurship. So let me do the video real quick, and then I'll quickly just show you some of the resources, if that's fine. So as you can see, we're really trying to be inclusive, and we're trying to be able to provide opportunities and resources to everyone, and that's a welcome video that we have. But if anyone, any business owners that are listening to us, or any people that have aspiring ideas to become entrepreneurs, you can definitely log in here. It's free, and it's available to everybody in the community. If you wanted to say, for example, right now, Sara, as we talk about COVID and how the effect that it has had, whether negative or even positive, on the community, specifically the entrepreneur community, they can come here. They can just say, I want to search for resources. And let's say, for example, right now, they're interested, maybe a business owner is like, where can I go find information on help for COVID-19? So in addition to, either business setup, community support, co-working space, but if you go into COVID-19, and let's say you say, you know what, I want to find something near. No, I don't want to go, to Detroit. I just want to find something around West Michigan. And if you just click search, it will tell you all the programs and all the organizations, whether it's in Holland, New Zealand, whether if it's here in Lansing, or even here in Grand Rapids. There's several ones that are currently offering COVID help, whether if it's grants, or whether if it's loans, or whether if it's business advising, or whether it's just even unemployment benefits, or the Grand Rapids Chamber has their COVID relief fund. And as you can see, there's 3 different pages. I'm not going to go through all of them for the sake of time, but this is one way of us, to, instead of you having to go a la carte to try to find opportunities for COVID relief, it's a one-stop, and we're currently growing it. I mean, we just opened up this platform a few weeks ago. So as we work with more of the entrepreneur support organizations, they're adding more information in here as far as how you can get help during COVID. But let's say, Sarah, that you're not interested in COVID help. Let's just say, you know what, I'm interested more in networking events. I'm more interested in what's happening in the community, so I can get to know other entrepreneurs. Or so as you can see right now, there's a total of 53 total events. You can see how many upcoming events are coming and how many new events have been posted by the ESO community. But this will tell you real time, what's happening. Like tonight, there's an information meeting that's happening. Actually, it happened already from 5 to 6 p.m. Through the West Hispanic Chamber. But as people can scroll through here, they'll be able to find out everything that's happening and in our community here in Grand Rapids. And lastly, before I pass it on to you back, Sara, also the resources. So not only do you have the link to the community, you have the link to the COVID resources, you have the link to the events, but also other resources that may not be related to COVID, but just be related to entrepreneurs, that are interested in many different aspects of their, like you see this one, agribusiness financing programs. That's definitely not for tech, but it's for agriculture. So it kind of tells you, what opportunities and resources are out there. And so when you talk to me, Sara, about the resources available, I thought about this startup space hub that we created is a perfect opportunity. And of course, people can still go to our Star Garden page and they can contact us, and we can definitely assist them one-on-one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Sorry for cutting. Last week we had George Fortis from SBDC. You know him well, I think. So he was here, and I know that they can also give a personalized approach to this and just sit with a entrepreneur and guide them to what are the best resources. But this is phenomenal because even if it's not related to COVID, if it helps your business, it helps in this pandemic. I wanted to mention too, Jorge, I love that those images that you show in your video, normally, you know, when you have a promotional video, you kind of had to take from the stock and kind of add images. I was recognizing faces, you know, I know these persons, I remember that happened. I was interpreting that event, you know, I knew a lot of the people that were there. So I know there's a lot of impact. And that translates into economic development. And economic development is really the best way to make an impact in issues related to poverty. So when we work with underserved communities and we do not address this financial stabilization, we're just putting a little Band-Aid. And when we approach this and we say, how do we take a person from here to here, where they can actually provide for their families by themselves, that is when really the conversation changes. And that's when we're talking about equity. So I love what you're doing. I applaud it. And I love that we can go here and it's a one-stop shop, basically.
Yeah.
How long? I mean, that's a lot of work there that you did. And to maintain it, do you have dedicated staff for that?
We're gonna have one FTE dedicated to it. And you know, we just, like I said, you know, it's just been available for a couple weeks, but we're growing it. What we want to make sure is that, you know, all the programs that you have, because you have amazing programs there too at KDL, where they can be added here, or a link, you know, where people can say, hey, you know, so once they know that this hub, you know, has all the ESOs, we can go ahead and push it up. But I want to go back to one thing you just said, because it's so equally important. I think that's the mission that you and I and many other exist to do. And a lot of people confuse, you know, economic development with workforce development. And there's nothing wrong with workforce development. We need employees. We need people to be trained to have skills to work. But you know, the problem that we see and we say is that continues to be the issue with generational poverty, because you know, you can teach people to make a little bit more of a wage, and that's great. That's what I'm saying. I'm not bashing. I hope no one takes it the wrong way, but we as Star Garden are about building equity, about building wealth creation. When you teach a person to be a successful entrepreneur, the purpose of that is for them to eventually exit their business and make so much money that their family doesn't have to worry, and then they start off a new venture. I mean, that's what America was basically how it was founded, and that's how many families have made so many millions of dollars. And yet, we as minorities specifically, you know, we often think of, oh, if I just get a good job and you know, and I'll be good for life, I'll retire, and that's good and fine. There's so many of us that are, you know, middle income, upper income, and it's great. But in order to break the vicious cycle of poverty in our communities, we need to start thinking about entrepreneurship, because that's the way, you know, that we're going to build generational wealth. So I just wanted to point that out, because I think you mentioned it, Sara, and it's so true.
And I like the word ecosystem, because we got to understand that it's a journey. You know, not everybody is in the same place, but the goal is to have equal access to opportunity. So when you and I work closely with organizations, helping when the person just arrived, or when they're going through a hard time because of divorce, because of illness, or whatever it is, or the pandemic, you know. And then we are in that point, and we have to start to rebuild. And sometimes that means I need to get a second job, and I need to childcare, and I need all these barriers. But the idea is to get to a point where there is a level of stability when the person starts building equity and building capital, so that they can go from what you said, you know, from poverty to financial stabilization. And I like to talk in terms of financial stabilization, because that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to have millions. It means that we are sufficient, and that we're a community, and we it's an ecosystem. We invest in each other, and that's how we want to see it. So I know that you and I can talk forever about this.
I'm looking at the time and I'm like, man, I still got so much things to say, but yeah, I think we got time constraints.
Well, I wanted our friends. I know that there's a number of friends that are watching us. Please join the conversation. Put a comment there. We would love to hear from you. We want to understand what people are thinking too. And after this conversation with Jorge, we will invite you to have a Zoom meeting with him. We will give you a link, and this link will take you to a Zoom meeting where we can actually see each other. We can meet each other face to face, and we can learn from you who you are, what you're doing, and you can talk directly with Jorge, ask questions, and create a relationship or start a relationship. Do you, before we go to Sarah Magnuson's small video, what do you want? How do you want to close this space, Jorge?
I think we were talking about resources and information for COVID, but when we talk about sociology and we talk, and you brought it up, Sara. So when we talk about equity, most people don't know the definition of equity. And I want to say that my definition of equity is wealth creation. We're not talking about equality. We're not talking about fairness. We're talking about wealth creation. And let me tell you why. Most of us have heard the saying, diversity is asking me to the dance, and inclusion is dancing with me. And most people would agree. I'm like, yeah, you know what? If you want to have a diverse dance, you invite me to the dance. And if you want to make me feel special and inclusive, you dance with me. So now you got diversity and inclusion. I would argue that if you throw equity in there, in order for me to really feel like I'm part of that dance, in order for the inclusivity to be real, you need to have me at the table where the decisions are being made. And that means that I can help determine that we're going to incorporate salsa music and not just rock. That we're going to have tacos and not just, hamburgers. That we're going to have, Corona and not just, Oberon. The point is that, when I'm at a table, whether if it's a board table or any organization, and they're saying they have diversity, but they're really not inclusive and they're not providing that equity opportunity for me to make decisions, there's no diversity. It's just, just check the box. So I wanted to throw that out because it's so important.
You're saying equity is not only being invited in dancing, which is diversity and inclusion, but equity is being the party planner.
Yes.
Right? And you are a party planner.
And that happens at every organization. You make decisions. Sara there at KDL, you and I have talked about that. That's equity. That's you say, you know what, I really want this and this is going to happen. Whereas, I was afraid that when I came to Star Garden that, they're going to check the box saying, oh, we hired the Latino and we're going to put you in a nice desk in a corner and you don't have to do anything because we can say to the community that no, it's like, no, I don't want to be in the nice desk. I want to be out there doing the dirty work and making decisions just like everybody else in the leadership team. And that's equity.
Correct. I don't think that there's any desk that's going to contain Jorge Gonzalez, honestly. I'm going to keep you in the desk. So it's time to go to see what Sarah Magnuson, our amazing librarian, adult librarian, has prepared for us regarding resources to the library. But when we come back, we would like to hear from you. Please post your comments and your questions. And then we will go to a Zoom conversation with Jorge.
It's Sarah, librarian and outreach specialist, here with your KDL Connection. Kent District Library has all the resources for your workforce development needs, from Career Online High School to prepare you for the career that you want, to our databases and collections that will help you grow your small business. Let's see how we can connect with today's topic.
Let's begin at our website, kdl.org. And we have been going to learn and research, but today let's talk about how to search our catalog to get items for KDL curbside pickup. A title I saw the other day caught my attention and I wanted to explore it more. But I'm not quite sure how to find more books like it. It's a bit hard not being able to come into the building to explore the shelves nearby where I might find more. Something to keep in mind, though, is that there is a subject heading for every item in our system. When we select the title of the book that I saw, we can scroll down the page and see the subject terms. And I want to find something that is on resilience. When I select the subject heading resilience, I get 91 different results. Now, as I scroll down the page, I begin to see that some of those are children's books or intended for an entirely different audience. But I can again go back up to the filters and select only adult nonfiction titles. This will limit my results to books that are more on topic for what I want to do, which is explore how resilience can lead to breakthroughs in business and personal success. So I can go through these titles, and when I find one that I like, I can easily select the title here on the screen, and then I will place a hold on the item and bring it to my local branch, and I will be notified when it's available for pickup. Another great feature of our catalog is the Explore Summary or Reviews tab, and it can contain information from professional review sources, more about the author and more about the content, and there are even some reading recommendations from novelists. Be sure to check it out.
Thanks for being here with us today, and I hope that you'll join us next week for another Small Business Expo where we'll share more KDL connections.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for that awesome resource. And there's so many other resources in the library that we can continue to explore. In every business expo, we will have one more to share with you. So stay tuned. And we have now, we don't have any questions so far. We were saying that maybe, people were speechless at this point.
or maybe we're not cool enough. Either
Not at all. Not
You're
at
right.
all.
Well, cool or not, so you have a lot of impact in our community, so your name cannot be forgotten. So at this point, we are going to welcome Joanne, who is going to explain to us how to join the Zoom meeting so that we can meet our viewers.
Hi, everybody. It's Joanne from the Kent District Library. I'm one of the outreach specialists for our department. And there is a link for the Zoom meeting in the, it's been in the comments, and it's been playing on the screen a few times as well. You just copy and paste that into your internet browser, and you'll be able to enter the waiting room, and I'll be able to let you join the Zoom where we'll network, get to know each other, and ask any specific questions you have of Jorge about Start Garden or any of the other topics that we touched on. I know I, for one, really love the idea that there's 4 different forms of capital, and would like to hear more about those things as well, and how it applies to entrepreneurship, and how to get that generational wealth to really flow in an equitable manner for all of our families. So I'll see you at the Zoom.
Thank you, everyone, for staying, for participating, and we will see you soon. Please click to that link, and Jorge, I will see you there.
Okay, we'll see you shortly.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.